All right. So just confirming, everybody can hear me online. Everybody can hear me in here. That's fine. Everybody can see my screen. We're good. We've got thumbs up. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. Thanks everybody for joining me in person. For those online, I know you can't see the audience in person, but it is jam-packed. It is jam-packed, full of people. We've got beers, we've got wine, we've got pizza coming. We've got everybody ready for an amazing session with some global superstars. I'm going to present for around about 6 or 7 minutes, and then I'm going to hand over to our special guests. So first of all, sponsors, these things wouldn't happen if we don't have these. So Digital First is our primary sponsor for these events, and also the Microsoft Reactor here in Sydney as well, for allowing us to use these facilities and resources and everything like that as well. Now, for those online and here in person, just to make sure that you are staying updated with everything that's happening in the Copilot space and the SharePoint space as well, I do send out, I'm going to go through some roadmap updates in just a second. It is only a little subset of those, but every Saturday I do send out an update or a consolidated update of all the roadmap things that have come out in the last week, so in the past 7 days, not just Copilot, but also for SharePoint and that type of thing as well. So if you are not subscribed to that or you're not part of that list, head over to my website, jump on there, and then you can grab those updates every single Saturday as well. All right. So updates. The last month, pretty big. I think there's around about 25, 26 or so Copilot specific updates or additions to the roadmap just in the last month. So obviously Copilot is the flavor of the month or flavor of the year, and will be for 2025 as well. But this month has really focused a lot around OneNote. And I know Matt and Brett Gilbertson, if you are online, I can't really see the audience at the moment, but you guys will be pretty excited about these updates that are coming to OneNote as well. So we'll go through these fairly quickly. So Copilot on OneNote is going to, well, in June next year, bringing in notes from video and images on Android. All right. So if you are on Android and you've got the mobile OneNote app on your mobile device, you're going to be able to share videos and images into OneNote and watch things happen with all the key insights from the video and the images into and converted into notes, so that you don't have to manually create those. So that's coming into OneNote from a Copilot perspective as well. So OneNote a little bit behind in the Copilot space, but with these updates that you'll see shortly, is going to really enhance the use of OneNote as well. Summary and Q&A in OneNote, both on Android and iPhone. So the summary features coming to mobile. And I know, and I'll mention these guys again, but Brett and the Gilbertsons anyway, have got, and many of you probably will have, years and years and years and years and years of notes inside of OneNote. So being able to summarize the notes across all of your different notebooks is going to be a really, really powerful feature coming into OneNote, both on Android and on iPhone. Now, voice in Copilot in OneNote Mobile as well. So being able to transform fragmented voice thoughts and conversations into clear actionable insights with Copilot on your mobile device is also coming. Again, these are early next year advances that are coming. Rewriting, summarizing, to-do actions, also again on the OneNote canvas itself. All right, so using Copilot, similar to what you see in Word right now. So if you're in Word and you're using Copilot, you've got Copilot accessible on the canvas inside of Word. That's now coming to OneNote as well, early 2025. outside of OneNote, SharePoint and OneDrive, being able to ground your prompts now inside of, grounding them in SharePoint and OneDrive folders. So you're going to be able to select certain SharePoint and OneDrive for Business folders to be able to ground your prompts and your conversations and things like that inside of those folders. So that's coming this year, December. Now this is pretty cool. So charts, graphs, data analysis in Copilot for M365. So being able to use prompts to create charts and graphs and data analysis in the business, in the biz apps, so that in the business chats. All right. So that is coming very, very soon. All right. So November, don't take that as gospel. If it's being, Microsoft rollout timelines generally, most of the time, aren't exact. So hopefully this does come to in November as well. So that's going to be pretty powerful for you all. Again, business chat. So Copilot agents available in business chat in the web mode. So Copilot agents are specific around certain tasks. All right. So it's a new-ish type of feature. But in the business chat in web mode, being able to discover and use different Copilot agents. Now, there's one that's there out of the box at the moment, which is around Designer. So being able to use Microsoft Designer as an agent inside a business chat is there now. But you can also build your own custom agents and custom Copilot agents as well. So that is going to be a really powerful feature for you to be able to integrate in, not just with your own data inside of M365, but also potentially outside using custom connectors and that type of functionality as well. So again, rollout starts November 2024. It's actually appearing right now. So if we get a chance at the end of this presentation, I can show you that as well. Now, moving on to, I know we're not at the end of 2024 yet, but 2025, I've got a whole year's worth of planning to do around all of these masterminds. These have been received very, very well. So around about, anywhere between 300 to 400, and one of the most has been around about 500 registrations for these events. So I want to try and make these around topics that you want to hear from. So everybody that's here in person and online, if you want to have particular topics, or you've got some thoughts, or you've got some ideas, or you want to hear about different types of topics, you can obviously have your say via this survey. All right, the recording will be available as well. So if you want to request a topic or some type of content, or even a speaker that you would like to have appear as part of these, then feel free to fill out that form and give me some feedback anyway as to what you would like to see next year. Now, a little bit of a plug for me. Now, we all know that nothing works without SharePoint, right? Not even Copilot works without SharePoint. So what I've done, I've created a little SharePoint, it's turned out to be a big SharePoint course with a little bit of sprinkling of Copilot involved throughout this course. 7 modules long. If you do want to learn about SharePoint, want to learn about Copilot and the integrations between Copilot and SharePoint, then there is going to be early access to this particular course. It will be released at the start of December. So if you do want, or you do have any colleagues or friends or anybody, bring them all along. But the first 50 will get early access, and also will be at a significantly reduced cost around that course as well. Okay. Now, before we hand over, next month is already been planned. It will be in person, and this person, Cameron Dwyer, will be in person here. An amazing developer and Copilot extraordinaire around being able to extend your Copilot outside of M365 into your line of business data. All right, so a lot's been spoken about Copilot and that being grounded in your data inside of M365, but you can actually extend it outside into your line of business data as well. So Cam will be in here presenting around that topic as well. So registrations are open now. So jump in there right now and you can register for that. Pop it in your calendars. That will be an amazing session. All right, I'm done. I am now going to try and sort this tech out and hand over to our amazing global Copilot Chiefs superstars. I got no idea where they are in the world at the moment because Femke's just traveling all over the place. But I'm going to hand over to you guys. I'm not going to introduce you. You're going to introduce yourself because I won't do you both justice. So I don't know who wants to go first. One of you can.
Yeah, we're going to present. One moment. Yeah, there we are.
I've put up my slides. Is it visible for everyone?
We can see that in person. Thumbs up. Give us some reactions online. Everybody can see everything here. Perfect. Love it.
Awesome. So let's start. Level up with Copilot M365. So in the next 45 to 60 minutes, we will tell you how we think you can implement Copilot in the best way in your organization. As you see, this presentation is themed on Super Mario, and that's because we like that game so much. I have a lot of very good children memories on it. So let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Jeroen Niesen. I work as lead MXDR at Wortel. In my free time, I'd like to do some barbecuing. I also play the drums. I have a background in development and security, and you might recognize my face. I have a YouTube channel called Azure Vlog where I share all kind of information about cybersecurity, Copilot, and that kind of stuff. I'm also a Microsoft MVP. So let's hand it over to you, Femke.
Yes, here I am. My name is Femke Cornelissen. I'm right now in Rotterdam. So I'm home, Danielle. My kids like to play Super Mario as well. So it's the real Super Mario house over here. I'm the founder of Dutch Women in Tech, a community all around women in tech that we support to get involved in tech and finding out what kind of things they probably like in tech and helping them to find a way. So a really nice community over with 2,000 women in it here in the Netherlands. So I'm really proud of that. I'm also a Microsoft MVP and a Viva Explorer. And my role name, we already mentioned in the beginning, is the Chief Copilot of Wortel. So everything around Copilot is on my way, and I'm helping our customers with inspiration sessions. I do a lot of Microsoft stuff as well at the Microsoft headquarters, helping them and giving our feedback from our customers, etc. to Microsoft. So really happy to be here and really happy to be to do this with Jeroen. Our first session together. It's our first time doing the Super Mario session. So excited. Thank you.
Yeah, so talking about the Super Mario, let's have a look at Super Mario for a moment. What you see over here is World 2 Level 1, but this is not played by a human. This is played by artificial intelligence, and you can see that it's running a bit weird. Normally, for those who know the game, in the beginning of this level, you have the opportunity to get a cape and fly all over all the enemies. And the AI is not doing it here, but it is doing a good job. It's not failing. It's actually finishing the level very well. It's even hitting the goalpost over there. So what we are seeing over here is a neural network that's playing Mario. If we look to the schematic overview over here, a neural network actually consists of an input layer and an output layer, and a lot of hidden layers in between that. On the input layer, we actually have the screen output of the Super Nintendo, or I guess it's an emulator in this case, that captures the screen. And within the hidden layers, all kind of stuff is happening in pattern detection, see where the enemies are, and based on that, the AI is pushing on the buttons of the Super Nintendo controller. And that actually got me thinking a couple of years ago, as artificial intelligence is able to play Super Mario, can we do other kind of stuff with it? For example, use it for cybersecurity, to analyze a cybersecurity incident, and based on that, push on the buttons that we as security engineers normally do. So isolate a user, reset a password, etc. Another use case I was thinking of, which is related to YouTube. Analyze my YouTube channel and decide whether I should post my videos earlier, later, or change the title, and that kind of stuff. Creating these neural networks is quite a complex task. It involves a lot of pipelines, machine learning stuff. It's not the most easy thing to do. And while I was playing around with them, it was in the year of 2022, ChatGPT was born. It was actually a Apple-like moment, like they announced the iPhone. All things that we knew before were changed in one day. We now had this awesome thing called ChatGPT where we could ask questions to, we could have it analyze data, and it actually really worked well. There is, however, a difference between a large language model and a neural network. A neural network is actually there to classify stuff. What you're seeing with the Super Mario, it's actually processing the image, and based on the image, the neural network is actually classifying whether it should push on a certain button of the Super Nintendo. And it's doing that really fast. Every frame of the Super Nintendo gets processed, and based on that, the neural network pushes on a button or not. But it's actually nothing more than just doing a classification. So we see the image and we classify on what button we need to push. If we look at another difference, the input of a large language model is human readable text. A neural network, it can be anything. So that's more complex. Another thing is that large language models, as they process human language, they can fit almost for every cognitive task, because everything we think of, we probably do that in words. So we can describe it, and a large language model can help us over there. And actually, the introduction of the large language models becoming available through ChatGPT introduced a new way of work.
Yeah, and when we look at like the Office, Microsoft Office environments, and we look at that, we see a lot of changes also over there. We see like working from home, working from the office. So when we think about all the people that involved with new way of working, that was really kind of a situation for a lot of people in the last year. Am I going to the office? Am I going to work from home? But also where I'm going to put all my stuff in Microsoft Teams, in SharePoint, in OneDrive, and how can we work together in what kind of time, but also in what kind of space are we going to work together. And what we see right now is the new way of work is the third dimension of work. And for a lot of people, is that kind of habit a really big change. So we totally understand right now if we want to go to work or do we want to go to the office. But as well, we need to think about, okay, can I use AI for my work? And we see right now that a lot of companies saying, okay, we have back again one day in the office day. This is how we want to work, but we are not ready there yet with our data governance or data structure. We want to change it because AI is there all over, and we want to do something on that to get everything that is possible from our AI. For example, Copilot to use it. So the third dimension of work is really, in my opinion, a new way of work, where we thinking about what is really a new approach for adoption, a new way of work for the people who want to achieve more, and big habits to change in our way of working.
Yeah, and don't feel like it's cheating when you're using an AI. I hear so many people, well, using AI feels like cheating. No, it's using superpowers to achieve more and gain
True.
higher quality.
Exactly. So true. Yeah. So going to the next slides, yes.
Yeah, so while I was playing with ChatGPT and started also using it in my daily work routines, I actually
It gets
thought,
spooky.
well, it's getting spooky. Yeah. What about ethics? At that moment, there was a lot possible with ChatGPT. It wasn't that ethical as it's now today. There was also a lot of bias in it, and hallucination was even more a big thing than today. For those who don't know what hallucination is, when you ask a question or a prompt to a large language model and it doesn't know the answer, there is the option for the large language model to give an answer which is completely not true, but tells it like it's true. And also security, because as I'm started using ChatGPT for my daily job, I was also telling it stuff about my company, which might not be good, right? I can leak data that way. Luckily, in 2023, Microsoft came with Microsoft Copilot, and that solved a lot of the things I thought were very spooky. Because Microsoft is building a ethical AI. They try to mitigate bias where possible. They try to mitigate hallucination where possible, and it's the only enterprise-grade AI at the moment that you can use, which fully integrates with your Microsoft 365 environment. It doesn't require you to upload data to another vendor and stuff. It's just there in your tenant. So let's now talk about our adventure, Femke.
Yeah, so we are now in like the next level, for example. So the next level of Super Mario, a new adventure. And what we see is, of course, Super Mario is over there, and he is with his friends in the new adventure, the new level, and we want to guide you to that level with Copilot and how we think you can run Copilot at the best way, the safe way, and the most efficient way. So let's get over to the next slide, Jeroen.
The Mario world.
The Mario world, the path to success. A lot of levels over there that we're going to discuss, because we're going to get it to have it about kind of strategy that you want to have, like data governance, but as well data security, training and awareness, some custom Copilots we're going to talk about, and of course some monitor and improvements. So a lot of things we're going to hit, and I think we can have like a session about all of these topics, but we're going to hit a lot of things in this next level for you. And Super Mario is right on speed, I think. Let's get started with the first one and talk about what we think is really good to get started. And what we see, for example, is that our people that want to start with Copilot first really want to know what's possible. So the art of the possible is really important. Showing is believing is one of the things that I see. So getting some inspiration, and I think we are an example for that, Jeroen, as well. But giving some inspirations, what can we do with Copilot, and how is it working for me on my role and my typical way of working that I do the whole day, or get inspired to do things in another way, a different way, or getting better. Another thing that we're seeing is that companies already, or the people that in the company work already use, for example, the ChatGPT that Jeroen already mentioned before. And a lot of companies, of course, don't know that there are people already using AI tools with their data. So it's something that we need to figure out what kind of things they use already. How can we help them to use, for example, as well in Copilot, and why are they using that? So we really need to understand how AI is in the place right now. What we see is that we want to experiment with them. We want to learn what works, what doesn't work. So later on that, we're going to tell there a little bit more about what some experiments could be. But it's also important to have like a strategy. So why are we wanna use Copilot? What's our problem in our organization, or what is the thing that we want to solve? And the strategy around is really helping to understand the people that are getting started with Copilot. Why are we going to do this? Is it like we want to be more efficient, or is it that we wanna learn more with our team, or is it that we wanna have a better employee experience, or is it that we want to have a better customer experience? All kind of things that we want to achieve with each other. And based on that, you want to have like scenarios in your organization using Copilot to helping them achieve that goal that we have as an organization or as a person. So a strategy around that is really something that could be help. To get implemented, but also get the habits on everyone, so they understand why we're going to do this. And not everyone is doing that in the past months, years, because it's already 2023. So not everyone is doing that. I think we see a lot of people just started small, getting some licenses, don't know what they can do with Copilot at the moment. So, I think it's good to have people involved, knowing why, and helping them to achieve that goal. What can help is also like having an AI council in your organization, so people were responsible for that. Responsible for that strategy, but also helping each other in this way. You can say like, you're responsible for the project, we are doing this together, but the AI console is there to help you. You can also have like not only a console, but also have some champions who are some front runners and helping you with new information in your organization. But an AI council is good to have, that people know if there is something with Copilots. For example, the data that is not good, or they want to find some stuff that they can achieve, or all that kind of stuff, that there is a group of people where they can reach out and can ask them questions, and that the AI council can bring that all together. I think one of the things that also a lot of people don't do, but is most important, is having leadership on board. So have conversations with C-level, knowing that business strategy, but as well put that leadership on up, and telling why we are going to do this and why this is important for our organization. And it's better if that person as well sharing his or her story, how that person is using Copilot as well, and a sponsor scenario and security, of course, a lot of things that need to be in place to get started. Of course, you already can start with some scenarios. You can start small, you can grow bigger, but a lot of things that happening that where we're saying, okay, getting started, you need to think about what your strategy is and how you want to like make a roadmap on that, helping your people around. Next slide, Jeroen.
Of course.
Yeah, we have there is like a scenario library from Microsoft as well, and there are some quite good scenarios you can find. That's not always particular on your personal role, but it's good to check this out and find out what kind of scenarios are there. What I see that really working is, for example, yeah, it's public available, so you can find it all. The URL is under the screen, I think, but we can share it in the chat. But that's really working well to find out the scenario library. What we see is it's good to make a scenario with your customer as well, to have a business case and making an ROI with your customer. So what do we want to achieve and how can we achieve that with each other? And what kind of roles are the most impactful to use Copilot? And now this scenario gives you a good first start, I think, to get inspired, helping that customer with that first scenario and let them see what they can achieve and how it works for them. It's good to have that strategy clear, because a lot of people thinking, okay, it's saving me money, but actually it's like more on the personal productivity way, and it can save you time. Yes, it can save you time. But it's also probably it can save you money because people can have more time to do like other stuff, helping more customers, for example. And then, yeah, what kind of things are we achieving with each other? So it's good to have that strategy right away, knowing why are we doing this and when is this a successful project, and how can we help our people with that scenario that we made for them on adoption. So yeah, you can think a lot of things on adoption, but we're going to talk about that later. It's your turn about data governance, Jeroen.
Yeah, so the return on investment is actually not about the financial numbers, but also the quality, efficiency of the organization, new staff that you can achieve, etc. So more than just a calculation of time and efficiency.
True.
So let's now talk about data governance. I think it's really important to have a good data governance strategy when you're starting with Copilot. Data governance is actually a framework of policies and processes that ensures an organization's data is accurate, consistent, and used responsibly across its life cycle. And one thing that sits on the basis over here is that Copilot inherits a user's security, privacy, identity, and compliance policies. So every piece of data in your M365 environment that the user currently has access to, Copilot will have access to. Copilot uses the authentication of the user to go into the Microsoft graph and get all the Microsoft stuff out of there. So I think it's really important to have a good structure of your Microsoft Teams and your SharePoint websites, and also have the permissions set up very well. So users have access to the data that they require for their day-to-day jobs. What I also think is important is that users are trained and know how to store data in your environment. If they don't know where to store data or how to store data, it probably will end up somewhere on a place it should not be there, and data can be accessed by more users than actually needed. So it's very important that users know about that governance structure and have the right permissions. I also think it's important to have a data lifecycle strategy. What I often see is that companies are running for a lot of years, let's say 20 to 25 years. Back in the days, they started with a server with a network drive on it where they store all the data. A couple of years later, they moved into Office. All the data was copied from the drive to Office. They migrated to M365 later on. Data was copied to M365. And a lot of old still data exists on that environment. So why should you implement data lifecycle management in relation to Copilot, of course? I think data accuracy and quality is an important factor over there. Copilot can generate stuff. We all know that. We can use Word for that. We can use the Copilot standalone experience for that. We can ask questions. It will go into our M365 environment, collect documents, and based on these documents, it's capable of building new documents that we probably share with our customers, with our other employees, etc. So if we have very old, inaccurate data in there, Copilot might generate data that's low of quality. So if data is old and it's not being used for your organization anymore, it doesn't have any value anymore, make sure it's removed outside of the organization. What I also think is important to think of here is regulatory compliance. A lot of companies need to be compliant with frameworks like ISO, or here in Europe we are getting the NIS. And based on these frameworks and rules that are set up by our governments, some pieces of data need to be stored for a certain amount of time or should be removed after a certain type of time. And we can do that by implementing data lifecycle management. And of course, security is one of the reasons why you should want to have this, because the less data is in your environment, the less can be leaked. So we can automate this stuff by using Microsoft Purview. A lot of configuration related to Copilot is done using Purview. So here we are going to have a look at the Purview Data Lifecycle Management module. And this is the module where we can set up retention labels. And a retention label actually determines how long data should be stored and what should be done after that retention period has gone. And these retention labels, we can assign them to containers like your Microsoft Teams, like a SharePoint website, like a document library, etc. So let's quickly have a look at what this would look like in Microsoft Purview. So here we are in the data lifecycle management. And I have my retention labels over here. I've created a general business communication retention label over here. And as you can see, this label has a retention of 7 years, which I think is the average retention for general stuff in your environment. This 7 years is determined based on when the data was last modified. So 7 years after this data is modified, we can execute an action. And in this case, I will auto delete this data. So this is a way to keep your environment clear. Should you apply this label on all of your data? Probably not. Think of the type of data that you have, how long it should be in there, when it's getting invaluable, and base your labels on that. The next slide, you'll see SharePoint, and this is the place where we can apply a label to a document library in SharePoint. Fun thing over here, when we apply such a label, it takes about a week to get applied. And after that, it's in place and will remove data after it's not touched for 7 years. That can be a bit complicated if you would like to test things out, but yeah, in general purpose, it's okay that it takes about a week. So aside from retention on our data, we could also set up retention on Copilot. And we can do that because of regulatory compliance. Let's say you're a healthcare organization, you use Copilot to talk about your calendar. There is also appointments with patients in your calendar. You probably would like to have those chats removed as soon as possible, as regulatory compliance states so. And of course, just as with the regular data that's in your environment can be stolen. And it also goes for your Copilot data. And with your Copilot data, I mean the transcripts that Copilot is generating. I mean the chats that you have with Copilot, etc. We could also set this up using Microsoft Purview. So let's quickly go to Purview. I'm again in the data lifecycle management part of Purview, and I'm now creating a retention policy. So I give it a name, and I choose to have a static policy over here, which is really simple to configure. With static, it just goes for all the users or certain groups, etc. Instead of dynamic attributes that can be assigned to your Azure AD objects. I'm checking here that I would like to set up a retention for Teams chats and Copilot interactions, and this works for all the users. If I go to the next screen, I can set up my retention over here. It's now on 7 years, but probably 1 month or year is okay for most environments. Then I have a review page, and as soon as I click on submit, this policy is in place and will be working. So aside from data governance, we also have data security. And data security is the practice of protecting digital information from unauthorized access, corruption, or theft throughout its life cycle. So we try to have that life cycle as small as possible using the data lifecycle management module in Purview that I showed you earlier. And with data security, we are going to make sure it can be stolen and only the right people have access to this data. So I think it was about 10 to 12 years ago that I saw this image for the first time, and it was used in relation to Microsoft Delve. I don't know about you, but the first time I opened Delve, it was at one of my former employees. I saw all kinds of information that I shouldn't be seeing. So Delve is that Microsoft service that allows you to see documents that might be interesting for you. What I saw at that company that I worked for then the days is that the management actually shared information with the whole organization, but only copied the sharing link with the people that they would provide access to the documents. And that worked well for a long time. But when Delve came available, everyone was able to see those documents, and that wasn't a fun day for them. Now in the Copilot days, we are exactly at the same spot again. I still see a lot of people sharing data wrongly. They share the data with the whole organization, but only distribute the link to the people that they think the information is relevant for. So when I ask Copilot a prompt like, what documents might be interesting for me. It's giving all kind of documents that potentially are interesting for me. And that's actually what you're seeing in the screenshot over here. It shows me some intellectual property, some HR documents, etc. I think the combination intellectual property and HR documents should not be possible, because most of the time HR stuff is not working on intellectual property, and the people that are working on the intellectual property shouldn't have access to HR data, which might contain privacy related information, etc. So how can we prevent unwanted access? And we can do that by labeling using sensitivity labels. I will get into that in a minute. Another way of prevent unwanted access is by disable SharePoint indexing for your SharePoint website, for example. Copilot heavily uses the SharePoint indexing mechanism, and by not allowing your website to be listed in that index, Copilot will not use the content of that website. So let's now talk about the sensitivity labels. There are labels that you actually can assign to files, meetings, emails, etc. And they indicate how sensitive information is. So is this document classified? Is it just an internal document? Is it public information, etc.? And the cool stuff over here is that the label actually travels with the document. So when I'm emailing my document to someone in my organization, the label is traveling with it. If I'm sharing the document using a sharing mechanism with someone outside of my organization, the label travels with it. And that's very nice, because we can use these labels to control actions that can be performed on these sensitive data. And to show you more about it, let's dive into Purview again. I'm now in the information protection module of Purview, and this is where I can create my label. What I'm doing over here is defining the scope of my label. So this label can be applied to files, emails, meetings, etc. Here I configure what I would like to do with this label. In this case, I would like to control access. But I could also use it to mark content in such a way, or protect my Teams or meetings chats. Here I assign permissions to the label. So only when a certain user, and you see it over here, my user here in the background, when a user has certain permissions, data can be used by that user. And one permission that I would like to point out is this one over here, the copy and extract content. This is the permission that Copilot looks for when it's indexing when it's getting the documents out of your environment. So if this permission is set on a label, Copilot will use that data to extract and do stuff with. So within information protection, we have labels and we have policies. So with the label you just saw, we actually determine the classification, so confidential, public, etc. And with policies, we distribute what users in our organization might use that label. So I have a couple of examples over here. For example, highly confidential legal data. This label gives my legal team access to this type of sensitive data, and it's only distributed to them. I don't think any other people in my organization should have access to the highly confidential legal stuff. The same goes for internal financial data. I have a label, internal financial data, which gives the finance team the access to that information, and it's only deployed to the finance team, because I don't think the IT team, for example, should have access to the financial data of my company. Another label which I often see at my customers is internal data. So data that is accessible for everyone within the organization, but should not be shared outside of the organization. So here I have the label internal data, and using the policy, I distribute this to all employees that are working for my organization.
Jeroen,
So
we have
now
two
I
questions. Sorry, we have two questions in the chat. Can we get them answered as well? So one of the questions is, can a sensitivity label be applied at the field level based on group membership?
What do you mean with field level?
That's a really good question. So please come back to us with that, and we discuss that in the end. And one of the other thing is there a licensing needed to apply labels?
I think it's is part of the E5 license, the Purview stack. So there is licensing required over there.
Okay, let's hit it on.
All right. So let's have a look at the user experience when we have labels available in our organization. Here I have a Word document, which is my intellectual property. I would like to have this being labeled as classified. And when I save my file, there is a new drop down over there, which is called sensitivity. And that's where all my labels are displayed. I can check classified over there, and that means that my document is classified. So if we now look how Copilot is working, I ask Copilot, can you give a brief explanation of what's described in intellectual property .docx? And it's actually telling me I can provide information as it's protected. That's exactly what we want. So this is a very nice way of making sure some pieces of data are not in Copilot. So here I have the most common labels that I see at organizations. So we have public, which is for data that can be shared with anyone. Most of the time, this is marketing data. It can be shared with customers. Interesting for people internal in the organization, etc. We have the label internal, which is for information that should not leave the company, but it's interesting for everyone in your organization. We have confidential, which means that you would like to add some extra policies on that label, probably that people cannot copy paste the stuff, etc. And we have secret data, which is used by one department only. Let's say the finance secret data or the legal secret data, etc. So that's it about the sensitivity labels.
There's one question over there before we go into training and awareness, Jeroen. It's about, from Greg, he is asking, so the labels are available across all 365, now it's a new chat, all 365 products when activated.
The labels travel with the document, so it doesn't matter where you store them or how you store them. As soon as you have applied a label to a document, and even if you are sharing it with WeTransfer, the label still is applied on the document. So it's available across all the M365 products and even more.
Great. Thank you. So now let's talk about training and awareness. And please, do you have questions about this? Please feel free to put it also in the chat. But training and awareness is something that is really, really, really important. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we seeing that people just started, and it's really habits that need to be changed. Really need a new way of thinking. We really need to think about, okay, how can I use Copilot for what, and how can it achieve me more, or helps me with my day-to-day work. So if we go into the next slide, Jeroen, sorry, it's your we see
No
that
problem.
with
Just hit me
with
when you need to go
every
to the next slide.
yeah, then you need to go to the next slide. But when what we see with every new technology, every new technology that is there, is that we think about we have really high expectations. So everyone who's getting Copilot is thinking, okay, it changed my life forever. It can do everything, because all the marketing movies are
AI is
quite
taking
good.
over my job.
Yeah, and I don't have to do anything anymore. So the expectations of the product of new technology are really high, and it's with every new technology that we saw. And there is after that like a delusionment. I don't know how to say it right, but we are not really happy when we just started, because there is like a golf going down and we're thinking, okay, is this it? I thought it was more than that we really thought. But when we are getting that in our habits, and Microsoft is saying when you use it like 12 weeks, you get it in control, you more understand what the product can, you learn about the product and your way of working, because you're the person behind the screen who needs to learn about it. You will see that you can go back to the plateau of productivity, and that is really helping you in your way of work. So in every new technology, the expectations are really high. We're falling back, and we need to get everything out of it to understand the product and achieve more. You can go to the next slide. And there's pizza, I heard, so that's also good to know.
Yeah. Have a nice dinner over there.
Yeah, have a nice dinner over there. Another thing that I wanna mention is that first you really need to understand that you need to jump small, jump higher, and after that you can jump straight away higher. So we're also saying like walk, walk, and then run. But a good thing to start is like a pilot. So having a group of users that we are thinking that there are a good scenario, starting with Copilot, say it's a Copilot or it's a pilot, because then we can, they understand that they are in the pilot, they are in the momentum of success, they need to invest, and they need to help the whole organization with next steps on Copilot as well, and you can help them with that insight. So now I see a lot of people getting their licenses and just let them go, but telling they are in the pilot group is really important, and as well sharing that in the organization that you have a Copilot group. What we see is that we want to explore that kind of scenarios. So the different scenarios are going to work with Copilot. We ask them how they think about it. We're giving them the materials to use Copilot, giving them insights, but as well, let them think about what kind of scenarios we can achieve as well, and what we can do as well for other colleagues. So it's really bringing them together and asking them the success of Copilot and how we can achieve them with the whole organization when we want to grow. So the next step is for some like a few weeks, go to an experiment phase that we have the use cases over there. We share the use cases with them. We think that this is the things that what we really want to achieve with each other. And saying that this experiment is right away, and you also again need to share that in that organization. It's good to really understand that this is a really hard change. It's a habit that we need to change to all that kind of persons that's going to start on the pilots. to an experiment. So it's good to be right away with every day, like, is it going? Is it good? Can we help you? How you use it? What is your success? So bring other people up and helping them to share them story. It's really working when other people share your story, them story, how they use it and what kind of things helps them. For example, is like having what I see is like having a meeting with your team, and that team is sharing the best practices in that team, and it's really nice to do that. And the last is like a marathon. You are really ready to have an evaluation about it and expand and see as well what can we do more. What can we do more about with for example, like agents or Copilot Studio? So what I see is that people want it all. They think they're going to change everything. But we first need to find out what can we do, how can we achieve on this kind of role, and making a next step with the other solutions as well. And it's really good to use it on this kind of way in the organization, that they understand that they are in a pilot, that this is something that experiments with the use cases, and after them we can expand it to more people that they truly understand, in combination, of course, with the strategy that we have with the organization. You can go to the next slide, Jeroen, or is there something that you want to share as well? No. Okay. The quality of the beauty of the AI is only as good as the input you give the LLM. And what I want to say there is it's really important that we give the good information to the LLM to get out what we want. And that's something that's not always as easy. And I have a few tips over there on the next slide that you can use. So the VOs, verb, output, why, and the searches. And the verb is like summarize, analyze, write, of what kind of things that we want to do with Copilot. So you need to be specific what you want to do. Summarize, analyze, write. You need to start with that to help get the best output over there. So verb is what do you want to do? Then you have the output. So what kind of output do we want? What kind of format do we want? Do we want it like bullet points, or do we want it like a table, or what kind of output is the next thing that we want to put in our prompt? Then why are we want to do this? So what is really the why in this? And why? What kind of output do we want as well? What kind of searches do we want, like a document or external data? All this kind of things we really want to know. So if we use the VOWs, I don't know if I say it right, but the verb, output, why, and the search, I think you get a really nice prompt. And if we go into the next slide, it's all about having a conversation. And one of the things that I really like is what Jeroen and I did in our new AI in Every City video. It's going almost online, but I think we all saw the new thing in WhatsApp with Copilot. And one of the things is that Copilot in WhatsApp can have like a conversation with you. So we see that as well in ChatGPT, is that ChatGPT asking you questions again, and you can have like a conversation with ChatGPT. You also have that right now in WhatsApp, where we have Copilot in it. When you like making a picture of a flower and get information about that flower, Copilot is asking if I just the question about like, do you like the flower? What do you think about flower. So it's more like a conversation. But if we talk about Copilot in our M365 environment, you can use it as well as a conversation. It is not always the good thing that comes out in the first hand. So it's you can make it a conversation, a kind of conversation to get the best things out of it. So make it like an interaction, and don't forget to have fun as well. So use your Copilot to get the best results, and don't stop at the first hand. So that's what I wanna say here. And for a good prompt, that's the next one. You have like basic, and basic is more like find compile information of Contoso's new proteïne plus shake. Now it's really short. I don't have any like search or where I want to have my data from. Copilot doesn't know what kind of things that I want it in a table, want it to boom, or what kind of things that I really want right now. So if we want to go to better, goods, or best, so you can go to best, Jeroen. You get more information about what I wanna achieve. Where is my data from? What kind of solution that I want? It's really small for my eyes at the moment, but you totally understand that is there's a difference about better, best, basic, better, goods, and best. So the more information you get, the specificer you are, the better the results are. Let's go to the next.
This is actually a new skill, prompt engineering, that I think every user of a AI, being it Copilot, being it ChatGPT, be it from another vendor, should learn. It's literally garbage in, garbage out. So the better your prompt is, most likely the output of the prompt will also be much better. So this is a skill that users should adopt very quickly, and they will get enormous power for it in return, of course.
Yeah, and one of the things that Daniel also saying is say please and thank you. That's funny one, right?
I actually read a research about that. And the thing is with the especially the GPT models, which are also being used by Copilot, they are trained on nice texts. So that's the reason why being polite to a AI will get better results. So always be polite, and the AI will return better results to you in return. That's really nice.
I'm telling you, it works.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. It's really strange, right? It's of course what we give to this model. It's it prefer better when we are nice. Yeah. But good. Next slide.
Well, let's talk about.
Hang on a sec. We've got a question from the audience. Yeah. Just hang on 2 seconds. I'll try and sort out my tech here and see if we can get this sorted.
Does Copilot do feedback, giving it good response, negative response?
Negative response. Now, for example, a few things that I use for myself, like more like if you have like negative response, I can ask Copilot to do like, okay, what can I do better in my work way, for example, or I don't think I actually ever get really negative response like that. It's not property or there's things but I say, okay, it's not that negative, but I can use Copilot in a way of asking, okay, how can I do things better?
No, I didn't mean that. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Sorry, I meant that ChatGPT, right, is now added in the last few weeks has added the plus and minus arrow, the up and down arrows, right? I mean, does Copilot do that?
I don't know. Do you understand the question, Jeroen?
No. I'll answer that. No, it doesn't.
Okay. I don't know. I don't.
Why doesn't it? I can't answer that. No. Maybe you can ask Satya Nadella. I don't know why it doesn't do that. Ask Copilot. You could ask Copilot. Yeah. So Femke, you could probably ask Copilot why it doesn't give the thumb, positive or negative.
Yeah, I can ask.
But I think it's probably because Microsoft, I think, promises that it will not learn from data that we enter in Copilot.
Very true.
So if we have the thumbs up, thumbs down option over there, someone has to validate what happened over there, and then data need to be forwarded to a product team, I guess. So I think that's the reason, but I'm not sure.
We're going to figure out. We're going to call Satya and ask. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your question. Let's talk about custom Copilots, Jeroen.
Yes, so custom Copilots. I think M365 Copilot does a good job for most of our users, but sometimes we would like to have a Copilot that's just there to do a specific task for our business and our business processes. So that's where we can create custom Copilots. And in the near future, we're also able to create agents. And they are basically tailored solutions. So a Copilot that knows our processes, has some extra knowledge that it can use to do a certain cognitive task. And that will, of course, enhance your productivity. Most of the time, you create such a custom Copilot for a process or part of a process that gets repeated very often. It also improves the user experience, as they don't have to do that repeated step time over time. And these custom Copilots can have a seamless integration in your environment. They are available through Teams. They are available in the Copilot standalone experience. We can have them available through APIs, so we can use them on our public website, for example, if we would like to create a help desk Copilot, so to say. And it can give you a competitive advantage. I think there will be two types of organizations in the future. One that use AIs to automate stuff and do things very well, and the organization that don't. And I think the organizations that really adopt into AI will be the stronger ones and have a competitive advantage. So what we can do with a custom Copilot, we can add extra knowledge to the Copilot to make it aware of stuff that we are doing in our processes. So, for example, if I would like to create a Copilot that knows everything about creating LinkedIn posts or stuff about social media, I could upload documents and probably PDFs of books and stuff. And based on those data, it can help me draft perfect LinkedIn posts. I could also give it very specific instructions on how to respond. And with that, I mean respond back in a table or use a different tone of voice. So that's very interesting. I have a couple scenarios for you over here. Of course, the social media Copilot, which I used in my example in the previous slide. I have to do my job a product management Copilot running, which has all the hype cycles of AI, security, etc. in it, and that's actually my assistant when I'm building on new products or developing them to a next level. A video script Copilot, one that Femke and I use for the AI in Every City video series that we have. We have a Copilot that we have given special instructions on the script that we would like to have, and that keeps also in mind the travel times between locations, because we record videos there in a city, and there's travel times between the spots that we have. It will generate a perfect video script for us there. And of course, as this presentation is themed in Super Mario, you could create a Super Mario World Copilot. We can learn it a lot of information. We can upload a lot of information about Super Mario World, so it knows about the game. And then we have a specialized Copilot that we can ask a lot of stuff about Super Mario World, which of course is really cool. So if we look back at the game you saw earlier, let's have a look at how that one is being trained. It's using an iterative training approach. So first, the neural network starts with random pushes on the Super Nintendo controller, sees what's happening, and it's learning of its interactions with the Mario world. As you can see over here, it's getting better with every iteration. It's progressing the level further. And this is actually quite a long process. It's very complex. It often requires a lot of pipelines and stuff. This is very technical. So normally when I talk about machine learning and stuff, I have a slide, let's talk pipelines. And we are not going to do that this time because Copilot provides us with other solutions that are much easier to use. I think almost all of us can create a custom Copilot. So one thing that I would like to talk about is retrieval augmented generation, which is a technique that Microsoft uses to ground a large language model. If we would like to add extra knowledge to a large language model and we need to retrain it, it will cost a lot of time, about 150 days and a couple of data centers full of servers that are generating the large language model. So there is another solution for it to add extra knowledge to a large language model. And we can do that by using a technique called retrieval augmented generation. So what's actually happening when we use that technique is we have our user over here that's doing a query to the large language model. But it's actually not talking directly to the large language model. It's talking to the retrieval model. What the retrieval model is actually doing, it's creating the prompt that will get forwarded to the large language model, but it will add extra information to it. For example, all the knowledge of Super Mario or the ebooks that I've added to my social media Copilot. It will add them to my prompt. It will put my prompt and the extra data to the large language model. Large language model will process it, of course, and will get me the results back. Oh, that was the wrong button. So if we look at Copilot Studio, we see some signs of that over there. Here I'm in the screen of creating a new Copilot. I can give it a name. I can give it a description. The description is really important because then the Copilot knows why it exists and what it should do. And we have the instructions over there. In the instructions, I can tell the Copilot how it should respond, how it should behave, for what task it can be used, etc. And the knowledge, which you see down on the bottom, is the place where I can upload my extra documents and stuff. So if we look at the social media Copilot, here I have an example. I give it instructions as you assist with managing my social media with tasks like creating content schedules, writing draft posts, etc. The output should be aligned with Simon's snack start with why. So we have a good post with start with the why. Also take into account the 1 million followers by Brendan Kane, which is a book that describes how you can create a big follower base. And if we scroll down, you see that I have uploaded these books and stuff. A Copilot will use that data to create LinkedIn posts for me. So this is really nice. There's no complex technical stuff that we need to do over here. It just works, and it's all under the hood that Microsoft does the retrieval augmented generation and grounding and stuff. So this is a really good way of automating cognitive processes in your organization, as you could change, of course, the knowledge for information related to your processes or your company, and have instructions to work with. Of course, you need a couple of iterations to have your instructions right in place, and you probably need to add or remove some documents. So this is a way how we can create our custom copilots.
There are some questions in the chat, Jeroen.
Let's have a look at them.
So on the RAG from Sarma. Before processing data and embedding content, would and changing content values like title, description, metadata, keywords, industry, and business text improve retrieval accuracy?
But would that enhance the retrieval accuracy? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, the more accurate your document is with all of its properties, the better, of course, the output is. So in my case, I just uploaded some books, but if you have really specific, accurate data, the Copilot will be better. Yeah, of course.
If a content piece is published, then updated after some time, and then updated after some time, the RAG model may already have embedded the old version. How do you handle this overlap?
Yeah, I would upload the new document also into Copilot Studio and generate a updated version of my Copilot. Yeah. So it's using the most recent version of the data.
And then it will be together with autonomous agents.
Probably, I don't know. I haven't touched the autonomous agents actually. I see some signs in the Copilot Studio that we now can create an agent, but it's more or less the same as a custom Copilot. So I can't answer that question yet, but as soon as I have access to autonomous agents, I will get back to that.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible to let a custom Copilot create a document with content based on a task?
I don't think so. The custom Copilots don't live in Word, Excel, etc. So we can let it generate text through Teams or through the Copilot standalone experience, but I haven't seen them appear in Word or Excel, etc.
How big for one file in knowledge?
I thought the total of documents that it can handle is 20 MB.
So
maximum size.
Yeah, and the last one is it can be public. I think that's all about the. Let me see. That's about the
autonomous agents.
Yeah. Next month. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Probably have to wait for Ignite for that.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Yeah. Monitoring
let's
and proof,
go to
your part, Femke.
Yeah, my part. So yeah, of course, if we want to get started with Copilot and we have everything in place, we also have an adoption strategy over there helping our people to use Copilot. We want to know how it's going, and we want to manage the uses, to monitor the uses of Copilot. And you can go to the next slide for that, Jeroen. One of the things that we see is like, okay, we want to ask, of course, the persons how they use it. So we want to have a survey on the users as well. But what we use is the Copilot dashboard in Viva Insights. It gives us information about what kind of way Copilots can be used at this time. Is it more like meetings, emails, or Teams chats? What kind of way people are using that? What we also can see is what kind of groups use what kind of applications and where can we help them to achieve more on different applications as well. Or did they start with Copilot really high in their expectations? They started really curious, but having the inflation down, that way we can help them and seeing the insights from that Copilot dashboard to help them, to give them the right information that they need, together with of course the survey of the persons, how they use it for the day-to-day work. And it works really well to have that data in Viva Insights and the right information over there to skill them up. So it's good to know that there is a Viva Insights dashboard where you can see which users in groups, which group users are using Copilot in what kind of way, and how many times that they actually think that Copilot thinks, or that Viva Insights thinks. I think I need to say it that way. The Viva Insights thinks they achieve from the time efficiency is also giving there some information. So it's nice to have that in your reporting as well. So you have your strategy. You want to achieve something. Yeah, this is something that you can use to achieve that and get your ROI in place. The Insight dashboard is there with Copilot. You can see it as a person for yourself, but you can also see it on a higher level on the company. How is our company using Copilot? The next one is for you, Jeroen, with Purview. Data.
This is the Purview AI Hub, which I think is also a good dashboard that you can use. You can see here what AIs are being used, and not just Copilot, but also whether the users are still using ChatGPT. That's a thing that I see at a lot of organizations. Even though Copilot is enabled, some users have a license. Still, another part of the organization is using ChatGPT, Google Bard, or any other AI. And by having this insight, you can go to these users, give them a Copilot license, or talk with them why they are not using a Copilot, and making sure that they are going to use Copilot. Because what we also see, as we have labeled our data right now, is where our sensitivity risks lie. And if that's in Copilot, that's okay. But what I'm seeing over here is that the other AIs are also being used. For example, Google Bard with sensitive information, Bing Chat, ChatGPT, etc. So this is a way to monitor that. I think with that, we have come around in the Microsoft world. In the Copilot world, you saw how to get started with the business strategy. We talked about data governance. We talked about data security. Femke did a great explanation of how you could arrange training and awareness. We talked about custom Copilots and how we can monitor and improve. So the adventure of Mario is over. The Princess Yoshi and his friends are going to take a vacation. Yeah.
Oh, that's so right.
Some takeaways. Return on investment is not only about numbers; it's also about the efficiency of your organization, the fun that people have when working with Copilot. Data governance and data security, I would recommend to implement them before starting with M365 Copilot, and always make sure to have a good adoption strategy in your organization, and that will gain you a higher efficiency and a better quality of the output. That being said, I would like to thank you. Thanks for having us. And if there are any questions, please let us know.
Amazing. Thank you very much, you two. Thank you. You can ask questions. Are you guys okay to stick around for a few minutes?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay. Here we go.
Thank you very much for. Can you hear me? Thank you very much for the presentation. So just a quick refresh of some of the things that there was original question about security applied on the record level. Obviously, that's like from the structured data point, but LLMs practically try to apply some sort of philosophical ontology, but they don't understand most of it. So that's the challenge. But actually, so the problem is like when we have unstructured like document, picture, whatever, there could be lots of sensitive data that might not be obvious directly. It's not easy to tag them. So there's a risk to always get something sort of wrong. But one way I see myself is the large language models can be taught to actually trace the the behavior of how people handle the data. So in terms of data lifecycle, and if somebody is not entitled to use the data, how they use it, like, and then eventually later say, okay, somebody has abused, sort of the the policies, that type of things. And so that will be the same. I have other questions, but I don't want to confuse you too much. So what do you think about the challenges of LLMs not fully understanding what they do, because we tell them by putting the text, but it's not always easy.
Yeah, I think Microsoft is doing a job over there with the labels and the sensitive data. So that's one thing that can help you over there. And of course, not everything is labeled correctly, or it might not be obvious how to label data. And then I think also users should be aware of how they work with their data. They should not share it with external LLMs and stuff. So we can do a lot of stuff on the technical part, using labels, using data lifecycle management, have a good permission set in place. But I also think user awareness is an important factor over there, and users should be aware what they are doing with data. And I know that sounds simple, but it's quite complex. It's not all users are that skilled in this topic, but it will stay a challenge. Yes.
You can ask one more quick question. Yes.
So here it comes the big picture of where we are at the hype cycle, because obviously we are not yet at the peak. There's lots of inflated expectations, and I can just give you one practical view from my point of view, because I'm a bit holistic. We haven't reached the peak until we see Apple shares coming down, because it's still on expectation that they're going to do something, even though they've produced nothing so far from AI, from large language models. And when the people see actually what was going on, then we'll see where we are. Just one other thing about your three-dimensional view. Yes, we have the sort of human and AI, but there's another level. As I said, the LLMs don't fully understand those things, that like practically rules, monkey see, monkey do type of thing. Like you have a proper rules and they will follow the rules, but the bias. And just one other thing, just quickly to mention, the hallucination, that's my hypothesis. I have to prove, but I have some starting points. It comes from the ambiguity of the English language, because they assume they understand it, but actually because there's so many sort of nuances that they just assume they understand what it is, and actually make wrong assumptions, and that's how they create. So that's a big problem, because it will always. And do you know what's the actually percent of hallucinations in LLMs in general? What's the percentage of? Okay, I heard from some of the experienced people. They say about 1/3, up to 1/3, depends on context.
Yeah.
So that's a huge for health, for other sort of sensitive domains. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your insights. Yeah, thank you. Do you have more questions there, Daniel?
I think we are good.
Great.
Oh, hang on. No, we do. Don't go yet.
It's a good one.
We need to play Super Mario as well.
All right. I use ChatGPT extensively as a solution architect developer, right? Getting deep insights into my code, suggesting new ideas. Copilot in Visual Studio is just giving me like basically snippets of code. It can't actually give you a whole, like, understand my code base and let me, sort of reformat, refactor. It just can't do that. I mean, apart from Visual Studio itself.
Have you already looked into the GitHub Copilot workspace?
No. Yeah. Okay. So it's as good as ChatGPT then.
Are you using GitHub Copilot?
No.
Okay. Look at that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
ask Jeroen for questions on that.
Yeah. So there's GitHub Copilot.
Right.
Yeah. It's a different thing to Copilot. So have a look at that. Cool. I'll talk to you after. Yeah.
Yeah, so the GitHub Copilot is the Copilot that's there for everything code related. And GitHub now has a thing called the GitHub Copilot workspace, and that can have a look at the code in your repository. You could say, you could ask it questions like, modify my code to add a new feature, and it will change multiple files, multiple stuff to get things done over there. I would recommend have a look into that because you're probably going to like that.
We got more. Stay around, hang around.
What's the data governance strategy on CSV and text files for security and ingestion of data in Copilot?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
CSV files and text files, they can't be classified or with sensitivity labels. So what's the protection of those if they're stored in SharePoint, or how are they managed in Copilot?
Oh,
that's a bit. Yeah, go ahead, Femke.
No, I don't know the right answer on that, but I just want to say, I understand what you wanna ask. Do you know that Jeroen? Is that something
if we can't assign the labels to them, we need to make sure the container they are in is protected.
Well,
but that does mean that if you let a file move to a different place, all the protections that are in place are not working anymore.
The SharePoint security will handle that, but if it's moved to a different location, then obviously the inheritance. Yeah.
All right, just because actually I work in the data sort of management governance space, everything else. So the problem with this labeling is, that's like some sort of human touch of what we need to do to classify. But data has value when it comes with metadata. That means when we try to understand it. So if all these files that are, when we're talking CSV and other files which are structured data, if they come with metadata, then the large language model should understand what is the meaning and the sensitivity of data, because it will come also as part of the data governance, model, which has much more than just data quality and lineage and all that stuff. So it will come itself by the metadata should contain that information. So if it's trained to read that thing and associate with the data, then it will better understand what to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done with questions. You too?
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, both of you. Appreciate your time. Now,
next time we want to go in person.
Well, yes, come in person by all means. I don't have the funds to fly you over here, but you're more than welcome.
Great.